Welcome to Layer the Alchemist, and on today's episode, building a better live album. This was inspired by Martin Popoff's podcast, History in 5 Songs. If you've never checked out that podcast, please do. It's excellent. Martin does it's a weekly series, and Martin always has very interesting topics where he uses 5 songs to reinforce that topic. And his most recent episode was shockingly not on the live album, where he goes through a bunch of live records and lists a bunch of songs that could have and should have been potentially on that live record. So I was inspired by that, but I wanted to take it a step further. Martin just kind of lists a whole bunch of songs that could have possibly been on the record, but I want to put it into more of a frame, and I'm going to the songs that I pick, they have to fit the format. I've got them timed out, and I'm going to put them in the order that I think they should be in. So the album that I picked is Rainbow on Stage. I always kind of felt this album is a lot like Made in Japan for me. I'm not as big of a fan of Made in Japan by Deep Purple as a lot of people are, because I've always felt like there was too much jamming on that. And as much as I love Ritchie Blackmore and the guys in Deep Purple are amazing at that, I would prefer to just have more songs in the end. You know, instead of a 20-minute space trucking, I would rather have 4 studio tracks in that space. Maybe have like one spot on the album where everybody can maybe stretch out a little bit. And there's some of that going on here with this record, where, you know, all of side 2 is Catch the Rainbow, for instance. So I'm going to build a better Rainbow on Stage. Now I'm going to stick to kind of like what Martin does in his podcast. I'm not going to pick a song from the Joe Lynn Turner era. I'm going to stick with this Ronnie James Dio era. Now, when this record came out, and this was not uncommon for bands to do this back then, to have a song from their upcoming record, even though it hadn't been released yet. So I am going to be picking songs from all 3 of the Dio Rainbow albums. Okay, so get my list here. So I'm going to open side 1 the same way that Rainbow on Stage opens, with the intro and Kill the King. Fantastic opener. So cool that they play an opening song that is on an album that's not even out yet. But that is just a great song. I love that song. I love the energy. I love the way they play the Over the Rainbow movie theme. And then Ritchie comes in with that riff. Absolutely fantastic. Then I'm going to go into, which is also on the record, 16th Century Green Sleeves. But that doesn't come into, I think, side 4 on the record. Here, it's the second song for me. It's got a cool feel to it, a cool vibe, and I like the contrast from Kill the King to 16th Century Green Sleeves. All right, then I'm going to add, that's not on this record, Tarot Woman from Rising. I like that keyboard intro. I could picture them doing that live, that long keyboard intro, and then Blackmore's riff comes in, and then Cozy Pal, and then they're off to the races. I'm going to end side 1 with Starstruck, which is on here, but it's put inside a medley. So we're going to get all of Starstruck, and that's going to put my side 1 at about 19 minutes. I took the studio length times and rounded up just a little bit, figuring they'd probably do a little bit of jamming. We're talking vinyl here, so we got to the sweet spot is 20 minutes aside for vinyl. You can push it up to 22, 23. That's pushing it a little bit, but I'm going to try to shoot for 20. I'm sometimes a little under, a little over. All right, side 2. Now, like I said, Long Live Rock and Roll is not out yet, but they did play Kill the King, so Long Live Rock and Roll is fair game. I would have loved a live version of Gates of Babylon. Maybe my favorite Rainbow song. Would have been absolutely incredible to open side 2 of this record with that. Then I'm going to give him some time to stretch out and jam Catch the Rainbow. I love Ritchie soloing in that, especially when it kicks in really heavy and everything. Brings the mood down after the very intense Gates of Babylon. This is going to be a long side at about 22 minutes. All right, side 3 for me is going to be Man on the Silver Mountain, but whereas on Stage they do like a blues jam, and then they go into Starstruck as like kind of a medley. I'm just doing Man on the Silver Mountain to open my side 3. Then I'm going to go into Still I'm Sad. They can jam and stretch out in that, just like Ritchie does. That's on Stage. and Richie can stretch out in that, and the band can stretch out. That would be really cool. Then Temple of the King, bring the mood down. I always love that. It's kind of mellow and laid back. That could go over really well. That gives my side 3 is about 19 minutes. All right, side 4. Here's the big missed opportunity on Rainbow. I'm pointing to the ground because the record's on the ground now over there. I understand maybe not doing Gates of Babylon because it's the new record. They already did Kill the King. They didn't want to put too many, they didn't want to play too many songs from a record that wasn't out yet. But why didn't they put Stargazer on this album? I don't know. Maybe they didn't play it live. I should have looked this up to see if they even played I think they did. I think I've heard versions of them doing Stargazer. And maybe they kind of felt like that middle section, it's kind of orchestrated and everything with the orchestra. Maybe it wasn't as effective live, but I don't know. They should have done it anyways. They could have easily have done something with the keyboards. That should have been on there. It's going to open side 4. It's going to be totally epic. Then on stage, they do a Rainbow song. They do Mistreated. I've never liked that song, especially here. It's too long. It's just too boring. It's too mid-tempo. I just don't like it. So I'm going to put in Pictures of Home from Machine Head. I could totally hear that as a Rainbow song, especially with Ronnie. I would love to hear Ronnie singing that song. That would have been so cool to hear this band do a version of that. And then the album's going to end with Long Live Rock and Roll, and the guys are going to stretch out, maybe a crowd sing along, stuff like that. And that's going to push up, I can't see here what I added. That 20 minutes, roughly. Side 4 is going to be about 20 minutes, maybe a little more if they stretch out Long Live Rock and Roll. So, all right, there you go. Building a better Rainbow on stage. Let me know what you think of my picks. What would you take off the record? I didn't really take that much off the record. I took off Blues. It's listed here as a separate track, although it's in sort of the Man on Silver Mountain medley. I added here side 2, which is Catch the Rainbow, is 1540. So I just added another song there. They could have easily put another song, would have fit on the side. I took out Mistreated, which is all of side 3. And basically everything else I kept. So I didn't deviate too much from this. I just added a little bit more. But I think it makes a huge, huge difference. And this come on. If this live record, the Dio era of Rainbow with Gates of Babylon and Stargazer, Kill the King, that would have just been worth the price of admission alone. So let me know what you think of my picks. What would you have taken off the record? What would you have added? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. To see you again, make sure you stay heavy, stay metal.